say that I missed this thing. It's an understatement, my friends, like no other. You guys, it is time to convert this thing to the most badass 135 ever. But essentially what we are doing is we're headed to the shop right now. We finally have a lift open and I can start working on this car again. If you guys have missed some of the previous videos, it's been a while on this car. I have been building out the E92 E9X M3 rear subframe for this car, basically refreshing everything. Sent it off the powder coat, did all new subframe bushings, and we're gonna go through all of the products. I'll have everything listed down in the description for you guys. But essentially this car is getting an entirely new drivetrain, suspension, braking system, rear differential, axles, drive shaft. It's pretty insane what I'm doing to this car, but it's gonna be really, really good. You know, this car is killer, man. Like, makes really good power. It looks fantastic, but it doesn't quite have the handling and the braking capacity that I would prefer. A lot of people are gonna say, why am I doing the brakes that I am doing? Well, that's because I've already done them. I did them on my E92 M3 and I loved them. And I love the way that car feels. I love the way that it drives on the street. And if I love the way that car stops in the E92 M3, then I think it's gonna be even better in this car because it's a smaller car, it's a little bit lighter. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a really, really solid setup. So to basically break it down for you guys while we're on our little drive here to the shop, we have the complete E9X M3 rear end. So I have the limited slip differential, I have the entire rear subframe, I have the axles. Most of the arms that I'm installing on this car are going to be Turner Motorsport arms. Some of them will be new OEM arms. I'm kind of doing like a hodgepodge, like a mix of different stuff, because I don't want this car to be overly stiff on the street. I didn't go with like the stiffest bushings or anything of that nature. I kind of like went right in the middle. So brakes, let's talk brakes. I gotta give a big shout out to the guys over at OEM Garage. They sourced me the F8X brake conversion for this car, which also includes the F8X front knuckles. Like I said before, this is the exact setup that I went with on my E92 M3. I love it. It feels so good. The brakes in this car are weak, bro. I do not think they are powerful enough. This car is fast. It is scary when I'm trying to stop in it. Do I think that you can make the 135 brakes better? Yes, a lot of people actually quite prefer them because they're not bad brakes, but the F8X brakes are better. They're just better all the way around. We're getting a bigger rotor front and back, and also I like the way that they look. I think that they just look better than the factory 135 brakes. I sourced the entire rear end assembly, like subframe, differential, all that stuff from Nadi Autoparts out in California. Those guys got me what I needed. So I'm gonna have all these companies linked down below and every part that I'm using linked down below. And if you guys remember, I had Öhlins road and track coilovers on my E92 M3. I recently switched over to Fortune Autos, which I love for that car. They're great. Also love the Öhlins. Öhlins are going on this car. So now we're gonna be running a full Öhlins road and track kit on the Oneer, which is going to be great, man. This car's been on these ST coilovers, which is like just the cheapest version of KWs that you can get. This car deserves better, in my opinion. So we're going with something that's going to ride a lot better. It's going to handle a lot better, and I have more adjustability on all endpoints. It's Öhlins, man. Öhlins makes great stuff. Really, really love their setup. So that is the situation. I haven't driven this car in over a month, man. Like, let me tell you something. Feels so good to be back behind the wheel of this car. I have the deepest love and respect for the 135, man. Like, it's just such a sick little car. And finally, it's getting what it deserves. It's getting the rear end of the M3 with a hodgepodge of upgrades, and I just think that this is, you know, I've done a lot of research, and I think that all of the parts that I picked to put onto this rear end and with the drivetrain, this thing is going to be so freaking good. And at this point, outside of doing, you know, the metal quarter panels and the carbon roof, which comes after all of this, I think that with this part of the upgrade, this is gonna be better, man. This is gonna be better than a real 1M. At this point, this car has surpassed 1M territory, and I'm just really looking forward to it, man. Like these are all things, you know, when people ask, like, why don't you just buy a 1M and do this? It doesn't make sense to buy a 1M and just devalue that VIN number, like, and putting all these parts on that car. It wouldn't make any sense. Like, if I got a 1M, it would just be like OEM Plus, and I wouldn't really do much to it. I would just enjoy it. But I just think this is cooler. And at the end of the day, like, we built it, you know? Me being able to go through all these steps and this process and building this car, it's just something to be proud of. And every time I look at it, I'm reminded as to how much work I've put into this thing. And that's really the beauty of building cars. That is why we do what we do. Not to just go out and buy the car, put a couple parts on it and call it a build. Go through a full build process. Remember, you guys, this car, it was sitting in the grass for 2 years, man. Had no front end, no motor, was not a 1M body. Yeah, it's just crazy that it's come this far. And literally everything that we've done to this car is really leading up to these next few stages. And I would group it with, you know, doing the entire drivetrain, this whole suspension, braking, differential upgrade, and then of course going into the metal quarter panels and the carbon fiber roof. And we're there, guys. Like, that's it. That was the vision for the car all along, and I can finally say that I'm, you know, closer to done. I guess you can't ever say like a build is done because it's never quite done, but I can say that we're pretty much done with this car at that point. So yeah, super excited. And so yeah, that is enough yapping. I will see you guys at the shop. I don't know, should I get rid of the T5 1R mod, man? Like, sometimes I drive it and I'm like, damn, sounds sick. But then sometimes I'm like, ugh, it's a bit annoying. I don't know, I gotta think it through. folks, a little update where we're at. I'm about to put the diff in this bad boy. These are PowerFlex over here. PowerFlex, PowerFlex. So everything that I did for the differential is PowerFlex. So obviously OEM arm, H&R sway bar, OEM arm, ECS trailing arm with 3DM motion monoball bushings. OEM arm down here for the toe arm. I ended up changing out the hardware on the end with the SPL eccentric lockout hardware because the hardware that came with the Turner arms was like too small. It had too much play in it. SPL fits perfectly. Decided to go with that. We just had some extra on hand, luckily. So I have the rear spindles right here. These are E9X rear spindles from the E9X M3 subframe. And I'm gonna be running F80 hubs with E9X M3 wheel bearings. The reason I'm doing F80 hubs is because I wanna be able to bolt in the F80 rotor, and I also wanna be able to use F80 studs on all four corners. The front knuckles are F80 in order to run the F80 brakes, and the F80s use larger studs, and I want them to match all the way around. So that's why I ended up changing the hubs in the rear to F80. I had E9X hubs, decided I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna run the F8X hubs. So E9X rear spindles, F8X hubs, E9X rear bearings, if that makes sense. It just kind of keeps like everything uniform. And one other thing, little problem that we ran into that is super fun. Dude, my hard lines for my brakes were really, 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 really bad. I basically could not get these off without breaking them. So ultimately, I am going to be replacing them. Not fun. I had to order brand new hard lines from BMW. There was only one of each left in the country. So I got extremely lucky, or I would have had to special order these from Germany. This car would have been on the lift for a while. In order to take out those lines, you have to lower the fuel tank in the rear because they clip up here. Basically, it runs all the way from there, all the way through here, and then up there. It's always those times where, you know, you get into a project like this, and you're like, oh, it's not gonna be too bad, and like things that make it take so much longer are like the little things that don't work out. Like when a brake line breaks like that, and you have to literally like take all that stuff off and rerun it. Oh man, it just adds like days to the project. So still waiting on some parts, but we're gonna put the diff in right now. Man, look at how good this looks. Golly, huge. Can't wait to get the wheel on here. It's gonna look so good with this. Now you can really see the color of this. It's like a rose gold. Got the Ohlins in, Turner brake lines in, brand new rotors. Oh man, this looks good. I say we throw the wheel on, see how it looks. New hard lines are in. And the best part is they're pre-bent. Oh my God, I'm so happy. I thought that I was gonna have to bend all of this myself, which would have just taken far longer than I want to. The old ones are over there. And basically what happened with the old ones, as soon as we went to take off the rear, these just get so corroded and rusted. This nut won't spin and it just seizes. And it was either I'm keeping the soft lines in the back because we can't change them out with that line, or I just break it and start over. And you know, at least now we're having a full, complete refresh underneath with all the brake lines. Everything's new on this car. So yeah, super happy to see that it's pre-bent, man. This is gonna save me so much time. Throw it in. Hard lines are installed and secured. Everything looks good. Tighten everything up. Clean some things down here. And we are good to go, man. There you go. Finished torquing everything. Oh man, what a crazy install. This looks crazy, man. It looks so beefy and just badass. God damn. Okay, rear brakes are on. I remember doing this on my E92 M3 because I run the same brakes. You have to do a little bit of cutting on the dust shield in the back, as you saw, and then I went ahead and sanded all that stuff down too so it wasn't all sharp. But you also have to do cutting behind here when you fit the Seems Legit brackets in order to fit these calipers. So those brackets that you saw, you do need to run those if you're running F8X calipers on E9X knuckles. Those are the Seems Legit caliper brackets. I'll have them linked down below with everything else. But I totally forgot you have to do all that cutting. Had I remembered, I would have done all that cutting with everything off the car. So much easier, but it is what it is. We had to do it on the car. Everything else is in and suspension is on. The preload is set. Everything is good there. Waiting to button up a few more things. Got to do my end links. Got to tighten the toe arms down. I did the rest of the torquing Brake lines are on. Waiting on my studs to get here. The nice thing about running the F8X hubs on all four corners is I can run the M14 studs on all four corners. So on my M3, I didn't do this, and I have to run the M12 studs in the rear, and I run M14s in the front. Don't love that so much. This is much nicer. Just having it all uniform, M14 all the way around, thicker studs. I like a lot. But yeah, man, it is looking really, really good. This whole setup is just so clean. Subframe and the suspension and everything. Oh, it looks so good. It's such a beefy setup, man. It's crazy. Boys and girls, we are a little over a week in working on this thing, and she's all wrapped up. Just need to throw on some of the under panels and we're good. Looking pretty damn crazy, man. Everything is set up how I want it. Of course, we have to take this thing over to get an alignment, but I did a rough alignment, messing with some of the toe and camber and whatnot. I think it's gonna be fine just to get us over to streamlined performance. Cool, man. So we got the Öhlins in. Ride height is a little bit high right now. That's intentional. I have new wheels and new tires coming, and I wanna wait to really dial it in until those get here. Everything else is set, man. This is going to be a completely different car when we go for the first drive. It's gonna be pretty unreal. I mean, everything has changed. Everything back here, and even in the drivetrain with the drive shaft and everything has changed. This is gonna be so much more direct. This is a one-piece aluminum drive shaft from Seems Legit. Awesome, man. They make this drive shaft custom fit for the manual 135 to meet up with the M3 rear end. It's like it's literally made for this car, and they got it to me in 2 days. So it was either that or I tried to go custom with the carbon one. Would have taken weeks for those guys to finish it. And I just said, you know what? I don't want this thing sitting here for that long. So I went with the Seems Legit drive shaft, and they got it to me really, really fast, like literally in 2 days. So big shout out to those guys for making good stuff and doing it quickly. Man, I am so excited to get in this thing. The driving, the driving and the feel of this car is going to be pretty incredible. Off camera, I also did a diff service, so all new diff fluid. Yeah, it's gonna be, man, it just looks like a complete work of art. For sure we'll have to shake some things out, but we already went ahead and did the full brake bleeding procedure. I will have to have the ABS coated. If you guys remember on the E92 M3 video when I went over the F8X brakes, you will have to coat in the ABS, something with the ABS, when running the F8X brakes on the E9 E8X chassis. So we'll get to that, but brakes are looking crazy. They really fill out the 18s now. The 135 brakes on this car with these wheels just look super puny. These look amazing. Calipers real close to the barrel. We have some new wheels coming, so tires and wheels are gonna change, and it's gonna be a completely different setup for this car. But the brakes look phenomenal, man. Really, really good. Super happy with the color, super happy with the setup. Obviously in the rear, same deal. Looks just awesome. Man, I'm so excited. So it's been a long video to make. Obviously a week and a half to make this video. Lots and lots of work, lots and lots of filming, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, because this is gonna be a phenomenal car. Did have to actually extend the level sensor, which was interesting. I think the E8X and the E9X just mounts up to a different location. And so yeah, I'm gonna throw on the rest of the shielding on the bottom of the car, and we're gonna take this thing for a little drive. Nothing too crazy, just feel it out. A little shakedown. What a different ride. Holy crap. Holy crap. I can already feel it. I mean, the alignment is atrocious, obviously, to be expected. But, oh my God, it's so direct. It feels perfect. It's no slop at all. This drives so good. So I swapped out the front sway bar end links. They were just a little bit too long, so I'm gonna have to order some shorter ones. But dude, just whipping this thing around, it is crazy how different it is. Like, completely different car. It is unreal. It's like, this is how this car should have been. That's what it feels like. Yeah, man, it's insane how good it is. Everything is much more direct, and the NVH, there's like hardly any more NVH. Like, I don't really notice a difference at all. Maybe a little bit more vibration, but hardly, man. Like, it just feels, everything feels more solid and much more direct. It's really, really, really nice. And the brakes, dude, oh my God. The brakes are so much better. And I haven't even coated in the ABS. Like, the brakes are so much better. So yeah, this was by far the way to go. Like, this car with this setup, perfect. The back of this car is planted. It is planted, man. It feels so good. I wish I could just like bring you all for a ride in this car right now, because dude, it's so different, like, obviously, but man, just the fact that I had this thing completely apart a few days ago, and now I'm just like driving it, and it feels incredible, and it worked out, and everything, like all of the upgrades I made intentionally worked. Oh God, that's a good feeling. Oh, that's a good feeling. So the rear, the suspension, dude, STs from on a 135 rear end to an E92 M3 rear end with solid subframes and Öhlins. Woo! Boy, this car feels amazing. Oh my God, dude. I just can't help but like smile when I drive it, because I'm just blown away. I'm just blown away. So I'm gonna try and get this thing aligned ASAP, dude, because it feels so good. I gotta bed in these brakes too. That's one thing I haven't even done yet. I sat and did a bunch of figure eights to break in the differential a little bit. We did a differential fluid change, so I had to sit there and just go in circles a bunch. But dude, it feels so good. The gearing is so much different too with the E92 M3 rear diff. Honestly, it just feels like my M3, but better. Like, it's so cool. It's so freaking cool, man. Like, once you do this, you understand like why the 1M was built the way it was, you know? Because this is the rear end of the 1M. It's just like on steroids. Like, it's just beefed up. Oh man, so happy that this worked out, dude. So happy. I'm telling you, like, the way that this thing just snaps now. Holy crap, dude. And it's not even aligned. And it just feels like it's absolutely on rails, dude. Oh my God. I think this is my favorite car, man. I think this is like now my favorite car ever. My M3, my E92 M3 was my favorite car, but dude, I don't know. This thing is crazy. With the kit on here, and now like the suspension. Oh, dude. I think I'm gonna upgrade the front sway bar too. I didn't even do that yet. And if I'm gonna order new front end links, I might as well just do the sway bar as well and just tighten up that front end too. Damn, dude, it's just like, blows my mind that this car can even get better with everything that I do to it, but it just keeps getting better, like, and better and better. It's crazy how far this car has come. The fact that this thing was just like sitting in a field completely apart, and now this is just mind-blowing, dude. Like, I cannot wrap my head around it. This car, we're gonna have a lot of fun with this car. Well, my friends, that is how you swap an entire E92 M3 rear end into a 135. Next up, we're getting this thing aligned. I've got some new wheels and some new tires coming forward. The tires are gonna be a little bit chunkier than they are now. So this thing is going to be an absolute grip monster. The next setup is actually gonna be a squared setup. But overall, man, I think this turned out really, really good. The work really isn't too bad. It's just a lot of little steps. And as you guys saw, there were times where we were just waiting for parts, so the car just kind of sat on the lift. But if I had everything, I mean, it's really only like a couple of days to do this job. But just from the little bit of driving I've already done, the braking is so much better and the handling is incredible. This car is going to be an absolute monster. So I guess that's how you make a 135 better than a 1M. I'm just kidding, man. 1Ms are phenomenal cars, but this is turning out to be pretty good. Like I said, you guys, big thank you to all of the companies involved. Huge shout out to CES Motorsport. Without these guys, none of this would be possible. If you guys need anything, make sure you come visit us at CES Motorsport. We build these cars, we build newer cars, you name it, we are a part of it. But I appreciate you guys as always. Every single part from this video and company will be linked down in the description. If you have any specific questions for me, you can feel free to email me. I'll also have my email down below. But I appreciate you guys as always. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.